everyone, Katie Petite here of KatiePetiteDesigns.com, and today I wanted to go through a little bit more in detail with you with my painted pencil mushrooms, one of the newest releases with 49 and Market and Sussex that I'm designing. So this is a set of stamps and dies, and I'm gonna flip it over here so you can see what you're getting. So you are getting two different pencil line mushrooms, painted inside to fill with, a couple of small mushrooms, and some splashes and insects. And to go with that are two dies, one for each of the large mushrooms. So I want to go through with you some of my visions of ways that these stamps can be used. There are no right or wrong ways they can be used. Your creativity is really your only limit. And I'm just getting started, and I'm sure things will evolve with these because there is just so much that you can do. So let's get started. I'm going to just kind of demo making a card with one of these stamps. And as per usual, I generally don't work with a plan. So I'm just stamping. That seems to work best for me. I seem to have less stress, and I just kind of let it all flow and see where it ends up. So I'm gonna ink the pencil line with archival so that I can get wet over it and it won't affect it. And I'm just using heavy 4x6 cardstock. I bought a stack of them on Amazon and they seem to work great. I've also bought like 4x6 watercolor cards on there, and those work really well too. So you can do whatever works good for you. I'm going to stamp this in the center vertically, but not horizontally. Or is it the reverse of that? I don't know. Can get all confused. Okay, there we go. And we've got our nice sketchy mushroom there. And I'm just going to set up my cleaning thing so I can lightly clean my stamps while I'm working on this. Okay, so you could just take the pencil line the way it is and then go into it with like watercolor crayons or watercolor pencils or regular pencils and color it in. But now I'm going to show you using the stamps that are provided, how you can color them in. So I know some people don't like to mix up their ink pads too much, but lucky for me, I don't have that much of an issue with it. So what I'm gonna do is take my oxides, because for me, oxides are just happier with me than some other things are. So let's try, I've got tea dye, dried marigold, and bundled sage. So I'm thinking for the mushroom cap, I'm gonna go with like a dried marigold. So I'm just going to kind of ink over the top of it here. So like the caps have the dried marigold. Then I'm gonna come in with some tea dye. And you know, maybe there is like a simple way to open these, but my arthritic hands, they're not always happy with that. Okay, there, we're gonna add some tea dye. And then on top of that, I'm going to add bundled sage so that I've got like a little grass underneath. You know, so it's not perfect. We're not looking for perfection with this. We're just looking for artistry. All right, now that it's all inked up, hopefully you can see that. I'm gonna just spritz it a tiny bit not too much. And turn it over, see if I can line it up decent. And stamp. All right, ooh, I kind of like that. So it's artsy. It's not like a perfect stamp, but I think that makes it so much better because it makes it look more organic and more, you know, artistry is in it. You can personalize your artistry. The paper got a little wet, so I'm actually going to, after I close up my ink pads, don't want anything to dry out on me or forget that I've got these open. And then I'm going to dry the paper. Okay, that dried up nicely. All right, so you could go back into these with like your watercolor crayons. Like I'm gonna just do a tiny bit of that right now. I'm gonna add a little bit of shading on our top cap here. Oh, this is gonna make me wanna do more than I thought. I'm gonna add a little bit here. And then I'm gonna come in with my paintbrush and just kind of add to it. Now keep in mind, I'm not using watercolor paper. I'm just using heavy cardstock because I had no plan, right? I was just, didn't know I was gonna get myself all watery here, but I like that. So it just gives another little accent and just shows how you can keep taking these further and further. All right, to add to my card, I want to take some of these other little stamps that are in here. So I'm not die cutting this one. I'm just using this as my card front. So with this in mind, I kind of want something a little darker than the marigold, but I want to keep it in that palette. So I think hopefully spiced marmalade. Hopefully it's not a lot more. It could be. And if it is, just embrace it because that is the best way to go about with mixed media and card making and journaling is to just embrace whatever happens and make it work for you. Just gonna give it a tiny spritz. I don't need a ton of water. I don't want it to get all goopy. And then I'm gonna stamp it right next to the other. I'm kind of making like a row across. So again, we've got the same thing going. This time, for this one, I'm gonna use my watercolor crayon. And I'm gonna just color it. I'm gonna color the caps. Hopefully you can see that, okay. I'm gonna color the caps. And then I'm gonna color the stems a little bit. And then well, you know what? I'm not gonna give myself grass on this one because I'm gonna keep the focus on the center one. And this one might actually kind of come off the side. So I'm gonna just position it there. Stamp it down. Yeah, see, I like that. Okay, now we need to add some insects, don't we? So, because whenever you're in a meadow, there's always insects, right? Let's grab this little, like, he's like a mosquito. And I'm going to use my archival ink because if I stamp him in the archival ink, it'll help tie together the pencil line ink in there, because otherwise that's only in one place and it may not feel connected from a design perspective. So let's bring this in here. Oh, that's nice. And then, you know what, let's take the ladybug and we will do her in the archival as well from the bottom. And then again, from a design perspective, hopefully it'll help draw your eye into it. But now as I'm thinking, I think we're going to need a sentiment, right? I need a sentiment on this. There's some other stuff I think we can add, but first, before I do that, I want to add a sentiment. So I'm going to grab the Hello You sentiments. Again, these are from my Sissics release. So you get a whole bunch of splashes and a bunch of words. And I'm going to just go with hello. Does anyone else, whenever you hear hello, do you think about the Lionel Richie song? Or am I dating myself? I always think about that song with hello. But I think it is a perfect sentiment for a general card to send to a friend. All right, so I'm just eyeballing this, kind of centering it, hoping it's horizontal, and stamping it. Yay, I like that. Okay, we should probably add some splashes, right? Everything needs a little bit of splashes. We've got splashes to choose from on the mushrooms, and you've got different splashes to choose from on the Hello You. So let's just grab some from the mushrooms. And again, to help tie everything together, I think I'm actually going to go with like a darker red. That could be good. Okay, so if I'm going to use the crayons, I want to spritz my stamp first, kind of moisten it. And then I'm going to add just some crayon over it, just lightly. Whoops. Okay, so again, let's figure out where we want these to be. I'm going to go for up to the left, and then I'm going to do it again. It looks like I have plenty of juice on there, so we're going to do it again from the bottom. I'm just going to turn it so it's not exactly the same. Okay, and then to clean up my mess a little bit and all the excess water, I always keep a paper towel handy, and you could keep a cloth or whatever suits you, but paper towel seems to be my thing. Makes it easy when I don't have water in the studio and stuff. Okay, here we go, dry. I think that is pretty dry. Let's see. Yep. All right. I feel like this still needs more. So what I want to do now is grab the floral cluster stamp. Did you see this one too? Whoa, as it falls out of my hand. The floral cluster stamp is another one of my releases with 49 Market and Sissics. And I'm going to just put it on here. And you know what I'm going to do is add some removable adhesive to the back of my card. And that's so that I can just get it to stick to my work surface and not move while I'm doing this stamping. And that'll help me keep everything all cool if it wants to stick. Okay. Again, I'm going to use the archival. I'm using Wendy Veche's watering can. Her colors seem to be my go-to on the archivals. So it's a good thing. All right, so I'm just inking it all up. And what I'm using this for is just to add texture and interest to my background. So I'm gonna add it a little bit on the sides. I think we need a little bit down here. And then I'm gonna go with a little bit over here. Okay, so I've probably made a hot mess and, you know, added ink forever and a day to my work surface. See if this stays on. Oh, good. Look, that gets it right off my surface. I'm using a replica surface, which is like a hard photography background surface that I really like. Got a couple of different colors in that, and this gray concrete one seems to work really well for me. Okay, what do you think? I think, you know, that turned out pretty good, and it really shows what you can do with just one of the stamps. I mean, you can go so much further with this. So many different things you can do. I could add more ink to the background. In fact, you know what? Let's do that. Let's add, since we only have green in the grass, to help tie the green together, I'm gonna kind of just dab the edges. Oh yeah, that helps tie it all together. All right, what do you think? I think it's pretty good. And what, it's only been 15 minutes. That's not very long to spend to make a card to send to a friend. So there we go. All right, so this is the Painted Pencil Mushroom Stamp and Die set. Again, designed for 49 and Market and Sussex. And it is just the first release. I'll have more coming later this year. I'm excited for everything that I have in the works to help keep you inspired and keep you creating and new creative ways to work with things. So I hope you've enjoyed this. And if you have, please remember to like and subscribe. Leave me a comment below. I always check the comments and do my best to get back to everyone. So if you have any questions, and I will be linking up all the different materials that I use in the description below. Okay, so thanks again. Thanks for joining me, and I'll see you again here real soon. Bye.